The reason why I started my company, it's called Intuition, is because I was totally thrown into this stuff. I mean, people talk about there being a veil between this side and that side. Mine was just like big, huge knife, just whoosh, just ripped open. I mean, it was completely ripped open with my curiosity about who that girl was, who that disco ball was, who I was. It was just this driving force that I had inside of me where I wanted to just figure out what everything was. I wanted to know the mysteries of the universe, and I wanted to know who God was, and I was raised sort of Christian, but I mean, I was agnostic at the very, 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 very most. I wouldn't call myself an atheist. I knew there was something out there, but it wasn't like, oh, Heavenly Father or Jesus, or it wasn't any of that, but I did know, and I had it grounded in my head, anything outside the Bible is evil. Everything outside the Bible is evil. So when I started searching out classes to learn about these, started seeing these trails after I started meditating and trying to channel my higher self, like this book that I had bought taught me how to do, I was at a loss, basically. The only places that you could find classes on that were like these really expensive places where you could learn to go be a clairvoyant. And I mean, I wasn't working. I was broke. I had no car, no job, no life. I mean, I was like this far away from being suicidal, but just the hopes of figuring out who that girl was that made me come back was what was keeping me going. It was just keeping me going. And of course, Jeff was keeping me going. He's very grounding for me. But I couldn't find any classes that were affordable. I couldn't find any classes that weren't like, oh, come worship our goddess, priestess, lord, freaky, weird people so that you can, you know, tune into your inner goddess or inner whatever. It was just all creepy to me. It's just super creepy. I mean, even without the Christian background, that's still creepy to me. But it was just weird stuff. So I came up with an idea. I'm an entrepreneur. I liked starting companies. I've had plenty of companies, and I love marketing. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to find some amazing teachers, and I'm going to start like a brokerage for spiritual teachers, and they're all going to be people who work in the light. I call it the Christ light. Doesn't mean Christian light or Jesus light. It's the Christ light. And I wanted to find people that were working in the light and bring them in, and then round up people like myself that were just dying to learn about this stuff, but you know, you had to go join a cult, or you had to go do something weird to go learn about this stuff. And I mean, it's not that I wasn't willing. I was in the weirdest places. I mean, you could do a movie on all the funny places I ended up chanting and rocking back and forth and oming and going to all these different places, just kind of searching for something until I finally found a pretty good teacher at the time. And that's when I started Intuition, and him and I started teaching classes together. He was a medium. He was raised as a medium. His grandparents were mediums. They were well known in that world of spiritualism, and he basically took me under his wing and taught me about mediumship. At the same time as I was learning from him, I was also taking classes on energy healing, and it's called Reiki. It's a Japanese energy healing. And it's not so much, it is hands-on healing, but it's more of a spiritual practice. So it teaches you basically that you only see in others what you have in yourself, your good qualities, your bad qualities. The world's a projection. So it's kind of a spiritual practice where you center yourself every day, and you clear your energy, and you do healings on yourself. And through Reiki, when I got attuned to Reiki, that's when my abilities just flew. I mean, it was just through the roof. They just totally expanded. So Intuition started where we just taught mediumship, and then it evolved into me teaching Reiki as intuition development, because that's what happened to me. Is I was doing the mediumship, I was sitting there meditating, trying to channel my higher self, but just seeing a bunch of creepy spirits. My fan would start turning on in the house, the little creaky noises. It was really creepy, but to me it was just fascinating. It was like, wow, there's something else out there other than us, these physical beings. So that evolved into me learning how to be a Reiki teacher. And when I got attuned, the reason why I use Reiki kind of is like a, what's the word for it? It's like an introduction. I want to attune people to Reiki before I expose them to the spirit world, before I expose them to trying to connect with all their guides, because if their vibration's down low, they're angry, they're mad, they're upset, then that's what they're going to connect with on the other side. And I could go totally deeply into this, but I won't. But if you look at it in a physical standpoint, wherever you are, that's what you're going to connect with on the other side. So you see some of these mediums that are just like, blah, just, they're angry, they're upset, they're mad, they're all of these things. What they're going to connect with on the other side is angry, upset, mad spirits that have not crossed over. So there's all different types of mediums, and I'm not a Bible thumper. I've never read the Bible, but I do know that it warns people against mediums. And I think in a lot of cases, mediums don't know what they're talking about. So there's good ones, but then there's others that will just read anything that comes through, and it could be anything. It's not really grandma. It's just some drunk spirit that wants to live inside that person's energy, and they're going to say, oh yeah, I'm grandma, and you know, the person's going to believe them. So there's a lot of freaky stuff out there. I'm not the type of teacher that's going to sit here and say, it's all angels over there, it's all roses, we're in harps and clouds over there, because on the other side there's really freaky stuff. And I never liked the words demons or entities or things like that in the beginning, because that's so tied in with religion. And most people who get into this stuff are like, ugh, religion thinks I'm evil anyways, so I might as well be evil. That's kind of like the subconscious thought pattern behind it. And a lot of my students are kind of at that point when they come to me. They're just kind of like, I see spirits, I see this, I see that, but Catholicism or Christianity or whatever, this religion says I'm evil, so screw them. So they kind of turn their back on God or source while delving into this stuff, which is not a good idea. You have to protect your energy. You have to know that we all have a team of people over there helping us. We have angels, we have guides, we have all different types of creatures and beings in all the different dimensions. So with my company, it kind of evolved into teaching people about that too. So in addition to teaching and having meditation groups and teaching people how to develop their intuition and their spiritual abilities, some people just come to me because they don't want to see spirits anymore. I have one girl who came to me. It's actually my assistant sister. She came to me. Her dad and my dad were golfing on the golf course, and they're both very, very Christian, dogmatic, very, very Christian. And somehow, some way, my dad's friend shared with my dad, oh, my daughter can't sleep at night because her pillow is floating above her head. And it's really freaking her out. And my dad said, she has to talk to my daughter then. She has to talk to Marisa. And my dad was in the new, my daughter's a medium and she talks to dead people phase. We started talking again, and he was like super ego, just anyone he could tell. My daughter talks to dead people. My daughter talks to... So anyways, he sent her to come see me. He paid for the session, and she hasn't had her pillow float above her head, basically, because I taught her who her guides were, how to protect her energy, a little prayer to say before bed. And it turns out it was when she was in there, the lady who was holding the pillow above her head came in and said, I'm trying to tell my grandson that I'm here for him. And she showed me a little tow-headed, blonde-haired kid. And she also showed me some other lady. So I told the girl, and she said, oh my God, that's my next door neighbor. And their walls are right next to each other. So her bed is right on the other side of the kid's wall. So she went over, super Christian girl. Hi, I have something really weird I want to tell you. I think that your mom is trying to get a message through to us or something like that. And the neighbor started crying. She was all happy, and the mom never came back. So in that case, it was a good spirit wanting to get this girl's attention because she's a medium, and figured that the medium could hear her when she's never been trained in mediumship. But in other cases, there's bad stuff. So she saw it as there's something out there trying to kill me and was causing her fear. She couldn't sleep at night. She was having anxiety. So there's the good and the bad, and it's really kind of all how we perceive it. And that's basically what I teach about. And one of the things that I really enjoy doing is helping people differentiate between the good stuff and, well, there's really no good and bad, but what's for their highest and best good and what's not for their highest and best good. So that's pretty much what I do.